on my recent trip from the Upper Chesapeake Bay down here to Manio, I had a bit of an issue with my 35-year-old Perkins 4108 diesel. En route from Regent Point Marina in the Deltaville area to Portsmouth, I was motor sailing, and at some point had a large sort of a popping sound from the engine compartment, and then just a massive amount of steam escaping from the cabin. So I quickly turned off the engine, popped down into the cabin, removed this, as you can see, the companionway stairs and engine housing box, and there was just steam everywhere. So now you see I've removed the companionway stairs and engine housing box, so that you can see the access to the engine, which is quite good. And when I took a look at it while I was under sail, I really didn't have much time. I was right at the turning point to head south towards Portsmouth, and I wanted to keep moving so that I would arrive before dark. So I looked around in there. I couldn't see anything that was specifically wrong, but there was just a lot of steam. So I replaced the stairway, the companionway stairs, and the engine housing box, and sailed down to Norfolk or Portsmouth. And the boys at Tidewater Yacht Marina took a look at it the next day. Interestingly, when they looked at the engine, they tested the freshwater system for pressure, and they noticed a very, very slight leak, which was coming from this small fitting here, which is running obviously from the freshwater reservoir into the manifold, the cooling, and they replaced that. And other than that, they couldn't find any leaks, and none of the hoses had separated, or none of the clamps were loose. So it's still a little bit of a mystery as to why the engine overheated. And then I remembered that when the engine overheated, I did check the raw water intake through hull valve, which is just to port of the engine room. You see that? It's right here under the cabin sole. And always keep the boat keys right there around the seacock so that I know to turn it on to open it. And what I've always noticed about this seacock is the valve. It's pretty loose. It moves very easily for a seacock. I don't know if you can see that. And right after the engine overheated and all that steam came out, I looked in here and I found that the valve was about like that. And all I can figure is that as I was motor sailing, heeled over a little bit and maybe hit a few waves, that was enough to shift that valve over to partially closed. So my theory is the engine was not getting sufficient raw water, and that's why it overheated. So going forward now, when I go under power, I am using a twist tie basically to hold that in place. Now the next question is, what was the loud pop and where was all the steam coming from? Since this cap was in place, hadn't blown off, none of the hoses had separated, none of the clamps were loose. All the steam was effectively coming out through the expansion, the coolant expansion tank. And the pop was this cap being blown off the expansion tank. Found the cap underneath the engine. And so that was the pop. All the steam basically came back out through the expansion tank into the salon. So in the end, it was really good news, because the engine was not damaged, and the solution was very simple. So the 35-year-old 4108 remains indestructible, apparently.